So,
Phil,
hi.
could you speak a little bit more about how to forgive a person?
Oh, yeah. Well, there's really, thanks for asking that. That was a real challenge for me to be able to do that. I was not able to do that for really the majority of my life. So I ended up being able to come up with some things that help with forgiveness. So the first thing is, right, is that I'm going to show you something. And I'm going to grab one of my Cognomovement. My Cognomovement ball disappeared. Stand by 2 seconds. Where's an assistant when you need one? There you go. Latest Amazon shipment. There you go. Cognomovement. I mean, my daughter is very into these. They have these YouTubes now where people unpack things, you know. Oh, look what I got. It's like watching somebody unpack gifts. Anyway, so the first thing here is you asked, the question is, how do I forgive? Well, I'm going to give you multiple techniques on this. The first one is really where I don't have to work at it very, very hard, meaning I don't have to really change my mind. My body will force my mind to change, as crazy as that sounds. So what you do is you think about the person and the horrible things that they've done, and you do this physical exercise with Cognomovement. So you have this ball and you move it from side to side, and you say the color that you see: orange, purple, blue, green. And when you do this exercise, you move it higher and higher and higher. In a few minutes, the feeling goes away. Now, that sounds like magic or something, some magic beans, but it's not. It's real. It's really just utilizing your natural systems. So how does it all happen? The ball is a three-dimensional object, and the right side of the brain sees three-dimensional objects in time and space. The left side of the brain sees colors and symbols. And when you move the ball across the center line of the body, it moves data from left brain to right brain. The different levels that you go through, where your eyes are down, medium, and high, when your eyes are down, you're connected to the kinesthetic parts of your brain. You're activating those. When they're level, you're activating the auditory parts of your brain. And when your eyes are up, they're activating the visual parts of your brain. And you're going from one side of your brain to the other. Stress lives in the left side of the brain. Guess where your resentments are? The left side of your brain. So we're moving information, left brain, right brain, left brain, right brain. The looping thoughts, if you will. And resentments are really looping thoughts. So with Cognomovement, we're basically creating a situation where you have a greater percentage of your brain being used. We're creating new neural pathways regarding this particular issue. The beauty of this is that it creates emotional amnesia. You're no longer fighting it. You just feel it. I feel how I feel. We're not telling you not to feel it. I'm telling you, feel it. All of your attention is, they did these things and I hate them, and feel it. And you feel it, and you say the color orange, purple, blue, green. You really feel it. And when you do that, it releases. Takes 10, 15 minutes, something crazy on that. You can go to YouTube. You can see videos on this. You can go to Cognomovement. Here, look at this. I have a logo. Cognomovement.com. and you can see a bunch about it there. Simple, easy. Uh, we have a class. It's called Cognomovment Gym. It happens every day from 9 a.m. to 9:15 a.m. to 10:15, and where you actually can practice and do this for real. Uh, the balls themselves are available on Amazon. There are practitioners all over the country. Some of them do this online. You can find those practitioners at cognomovement.com. So that is one method where we can utilize our body to change our mind. If I can't change my mind, I can move my body and it'll do it for me. So that is really the awesome discovery. And when you have this emotional amnesia, forgiveness becomes like, of course, I can barely even remember what the heck the deal was in the first place. Why I felt that way. I just don't feel that way. So forgiveness is like, oh, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is the little bit harder method. But some people, they can't move their body, or they don't want to, or they just, it's not for them. So there are other ways, and those ways are, first, what I call the lesson from near-death experiences. I got the pleasure of talking before many chapters of the International Association for Near-Death Studies. It's called IANDS, IANDS. They have chapters all over the country. In your town, there's a chapter near you. You can attend their meetings. I think it's once a month. I think they're free, or $25 or something like that. And people have had near-death experiences. It's basically a support group for near-death experiencers. So somebody had wrote, one of the the president of Los Angeles International Association for Near-Death Studies read my book, The Only Lesson. And he said about it that it was all the lessons from a NDE, near-death experience. And he called me and stuff. And I had a bunch of tools that help people through crisis, if you will. And near-death experiences, people are in crisis after. It is extremely intense. They go from third dimension up to fifth dimension, like that, and then they're popped back in their bodies, and all kinds of things are happening to them. They feel what other people feel, and very intensely, as if it's their own, in a very big way. Why am I bringing all this up? The reason I'm bringing it all up is because the near-death experiencers that go far enough in their near-death experience get to experience what they call a life review. In the life review, you live your life again, but you live it as the other person. It's so, as you're living your life, you are actually in the other person's body, hearing you talk, feeling what you feel. The whole thing is you. You're experiencing everything that they feel in a very real way, just as you're sitting on your couch or in your chair or walking right now. I'm going to get to experience this again, but I'm going to be you that next time. And I'm going to be every bit of you. And in that, every word that I speak, that I will get to experience the impact of it. All the joy that I've given, all the pain that I've given. And also, the beauty of it is I get to see my misunderstandings. And you come back from that, they all come back with the same thing. And they all say, it wasn't what I thought. It's not what I thought. When we're here on this earth, we're thinking that person is saying this or doing that, or, and they got this intention, or they those guys, they're bad people or whatever. And the truth is, there's something else going on. That person is distracted. They're not thinking about us. They have something in their past, which they're misinterpreting what's going on with me. They're saying, oh gosh, that Bill McKenna's blah, blah, blah. So you will get a new understanding when you go through this experience. Don't wait until you die. You ain't got to live that way. You haven't got to do it. While you're embodied in this physical body, take the lesson that all these near-death experiencers came back with and understand that they didn't mean it. They weren't intentionally trying to hurt me or be that way. There's something else going on. It's not what you think. In knowing that and being open to it, right? Opening up my perceptions, it becomes much easier to forgive. The other thing that becomes much easier to forgive is when we can see ourselves in them. And these are my famous 3 words, have I ever. When you look at the other person and you're accusing them of being a thief or a cheater or not paying attention to me, not giving me the attention that I want and need, not caring about me. Did I ever do that to anybody else in my past? Have I ever treated anybody what I'm accusing them of? And inevitably, the answer will be, I'm sorry, it's yes, because you're feeling it. You don't get to feel it if you didn't do it. And, hey, I'm the poster child, right? It's not like I don't, it's not like I don't have this. I have to live this myself. So the one thing I will say is that it makes your forgiveness very easy, very fast. And you'll feel a compassion come on you for them. And you'll feel closeness, like, hey, that's how we do. I get you, right? We do this. So that is how it is, and it's the mechanism by which we learn. The ending of our karma is the changing of our mind. When I can not do it to anybody anymore, then my karma's over and I get to move on that issue. So those are some simple techniques to help you down the road of forgiveness. Once you've done this once or twice to forgive real severe indiscretions, shall we say, on other people's part, it becomes extraordinarily easy to continue. It's the first ones that are kind of hard, right? It's getting up to that level of understanding, the understanding that you're at. On the Dr. David Hawking scale, he's done wonderful work, but there's a certain level of understanding. He calls it levels of consciousness. But if the understanding that you came to is that forgiveness is actually in my own self-interest, then it becomes easy, right? Why wouldn't I do something that's in my own interest? When you have experienced that it is in my interest to forgive you, then people naturally gravitate towards it. It's the fear and not thinking that it's in my interest that keep you stuck. I want to show you something regarding that, which I find incredibly interesting. This is a woman right here. This is a woman who came to me. She very much resented her husband. She wanted me to work with her. And over here it has the amount of electricity or joules she has in her body. That's the way they measure it, is the joules are on this side, which is a actual electrical measurement of every single organ here, 31 different organs, her pancreas, her pituitary, her colon, her heart, all these different organs down here are represented here. Over here, you'll see any one of these is out of balance, right? These are the ones that are highlighted are out of balance. Now, I worked with her for a period of hours, and I got her to, through Cognomovement, right? We utilized this, I utilized this, and we processed all of her resentment towards her husband. And not only did we get rid of all the resentments, and then naturally it was very easy for her to go back and have a feeling of love for him. So what happened is, after 3 hours or so worked with her, here is afterwards. Look at how much more energy she had. She almost doubled the amount of energy, and all the organs that were out of balance were now in balance. So here we go. Here is before. That's her body, every single organ in her body responding to her resentment. Here's her organs afterwards, responding to her letting go of the resentment and to love. And that's only in a few hours. I mean, she was going to leave the man. She's 3 kids, and I'm going to leave him. And, I'm sure if she could have shanked him a little bit on the way out, she would have done it. But there it is. So when I say that to forgive, when you start to see it as in your own interest, and maybe this is it right here for you. Maybe this is the simple thing that you needed to see, to say, you know what? My body, my immune system, all of it is getting baked because I decided to hold on to the resentment for this person who's not going to give me a dime anyway, who's not going to say they're sorry, who's never going to change, never going to admit that they did something wrong. And maybe, just maybe, there's more to the story, maybe, but you forgive and all of a sudden you get health. Well, I get to feel better. I get my health. Here's another one. Here's a woman who had a fear of falling. I've told this story before, but yeah, she came in and she was holding on to everything everywhere. And during the process of holding on to everything, she was extremely afraid of falling down. And the reason she was so afraid of falling down is because when she fell down and broke her femur, and it just so happens this is the femur, it's right here. You can see the energy is not there relative to everything else. And she got abused after she fell down. And this particular woman didn't want to be back in that situation because it was a relative. And if she fell again, she was going to have to live through a horror show. So I worked with her on this. And here's your before, where she felt fear like a scale 1 to 10, it was a 10. And here, afterwards of utilizing Cognomovement, boom, all the fear went away and the energy field filled in. So before, after. Letting go of fear, letting go of resentments, these sorts of things are very big for your immune system. Here is your chakras before forgiving this woman, and then here's afterwards. And anyway, this story, I think I told this one in the past. The one that this is the Irish woman who she, I saw her, these were her measurements, and I told her, I'm going to ask you to forgive all these people now, and she was, because I think it can help you. And before she did the forgiving, she was like, "Oh, those are me treasures. Those are me treasures. I can't forgive them." It's quite funny. But she did forgive them, and then immediately following, lined her right on up. So it's a beautiful thing. So anyway, there's this little screenshot here. Cognomovement has many ways to do it. And there's a simple method here where you put your Cognomovement ball into an area where kind of there is a part of your brain that lights up on everything. Ice cream, fried chicken, bliss, a good drink, a lover, somebody you hate. They all light up different parts of your brain. Well, that actually corresponds outside of you as well. That is, you've heard the Hermetic teaching, as within, so without, that sort of thing. So one of the things that we have with Cognomovement is you can put your Cognomovement ball into your bliss area and think about the negative situation. Maybe it's the fear, maybe it's the resentment. And you merely just say the color you see, and you're in this cell, shall we say, of bliss and joy, and you rotate your ball and say the color, and within a few minutes, poof, it's gone. Anyway, it's just an amazing technique that works extremely fast. So you've got multiple different gifts there on things that you can do that will immediately help you to lift your immune system from an emotional perspective. So another thing I want to share with you today, and that is the gift of the earth and the sun and the ground that you walk on. Right now, we all walk around in shoes, rubber soles, that sort of thing, very disconnected from the earth. But there were things that were known to the indigenous people that we forgot about. One of the things I'll show you is this right here. I remember, I'll give you an example here. This is really me. This is me. So I remember I used to live in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico for a while, and had some of the best times of my life. I was down on the beach. I can still remember it, watching a sunset in Mexico on the beach. And I remember just walking away and feeling very much at peace. I felt really good. And the people that were with me also felt the same. And you just didn't know why. It's just like, oh, maybe it's because I sure do like the beach and I love being in Mexico. But here, if you notice, I can actually test it now. Here it is afterwards. Here's before, and here's me afterwards. So the sun, watching a sunset, will actually align you. And over here, this is me also before connecting to the earth. So I took these measurements, and you notice the size of these balls. As these balls are here, the size of the ball indicates the amount of energy, right? Measured in joules, but that's the size. So all I did was connect with the earth. And as you'll see here, look at the difference in the size. It's huge. It doesn't align you, but it will give you your power. I learned about this from the indigenous Indians. They said, oh, the earth gives you your power. And I was like, oh, I don't know about that, that type of thing. Because, I just, at that point in my life, I wasn't very aware. But truly, it does. Here's before and here's after. So what's the point? The point is that your voltage, and you learned in part 1 of this, Your voltage is relative to your health, right? And simply connecting to the earth, right, will give you more voltage. Connecting. Imagine if you can't do it, just be grateful for the earth and what it's provided you with, and imagine your feet are connected to the earth. That alone will help to do it. Emotional pressure. So if you were to hold hands with a loved one, uh, I merely just hold the hand of my daughter just for a few minutes, and my emotional pressure was less, and my energy was greater, all in just a few minutes. So being around people that you love, having fun and laughing, forgiving, joy, all those things are great. So, if you want to have the full replay, I want to make sure that everybody has this. If you go to cognomovement.com and that's cogno like your brain, movement.com, and there's a banner at the very top that will pop up in about 30 seconds or so. You type in your email address and hit subscribe for a free gift. You'll get all 3 hours of this webinar so that you didn't miss, because I know this is part 2. You may want to watch part 1. The other thing I want to mention to you is that we have the immunity gym. So we have basically the breathing exercises, emotional release, and even some cold exposure type stuff that we go do every single day at 8 a.m. You don't have to do all the exercises. You can just do what you can. But these are proven to boost the heck out of your immune system. So anyway, you can sign up for the immunity gym. And it's only $99 for 7 days a week, an hour a day. A lot of times it goes over, but I try to keep it at an hour. After that, at 9:15, these are Pacific time, we have Cognomovement gym for an hour. And you go through, and for an entire hour, we go through different subjects. And we work on success, relationships, communications, all kinds of different subjects every single day, and we knock out the involuntary reaction type feelings that you have. It's also $99, but if you take both of them together, it's $150 for the whole week. It's 14 hours of online training that is real time. We're doing it right then and there with you. Those are the main things I guess I really had for you today. We have part 3 of the system coming up tomorrow at the exact same time. You can use the same the same link to come on and do part 3 with us. I hope to see you at one of our online gyms, the Immunity Gym or the Cognomovement Gym, or both. You can sign up, like I said. I think it's Liz Larson. How can we sign up for that?
At Cognomovement, if you just go to the upcoming events, it is there. The new one starts on the 20th, so you can join that one. Or it sounds like if you wanted to join the last couple days of this week, that's available to you too. Just let us know that you want to do that. So it's Bill McKenna events and Cognomovement and upcoming events.
All right. So I'll stop there. Obviously, we've got all of you here, and I've been jibber jabbing away and giving you a bunch of things. Let's see. Anybody with any questions that you have that I could answer, just unmute yourself and I will ask. You'll ask, I'll answer any questions that you might have. I also want to ask a question. Anybody, the exercises that I showed you, did anybody utilize them successfully while we were online?
Go ahead and unmute yourself, guys, if you want to chat.
No,
I'm not getting anybody unmuted, which is
nobody's interested of unmuting, but that's okay. I really appreciate you taking the time to join me today. If you would like to ask me any questions, and you will be online again tomorrow at the same time, jot your questions down and ask them. And hopefully we'll see you on one of our gyms, and we have a lot of other events that are upcoming, like a Cognomovement certification at the end of this month.
looks like Shelby might have a comment.
Yeah, I just wanted to check. Liz and I were talking about it before the meeting. Do you do a free Cognomovement session every Thursday?
So Liz is in charge of all the schedules, so I believe so.
Yeah, Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific is our free Cognomovement hour. So if people want to come on and actually be coached through whatever their issue is, that's available. You can kind of let us know in advance if it's something you want to do. But we will be on at 5 p.m. And all you have to do is go to Cognomovement/webinar-register, or just look for one of our emails, because you'll get one to say that it's going to happen. So Thursday afternoons, and it's directly after the immunity gym free class as well.
Okay. Just so we have a few people that Wendy and I know that might be interested in having a look next week. So I just wanted to know when to give them advance notice when we were going to do it.
Shelby, if you have a group of enough, maybe 5, we'll set one up for you.
Yep. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do just one, just even for your group.
Yeah.
Did Wendy from yesterday, how did she say anything? We worked on her high blood pressure.
I think Wendy's online. She joined
there
it.
you are, Wendy.
She made it.
Hey, Wendy.
Hold on. Let me
You
see.
unmute yourself.
Let me try. There we go. You're
Okay.
on, Wendy.
Yes, I felt really good afterwards, the session, and as I said, I knew that it would start to go down. So I think it was like 145 over 95 this morning. So it had gone down a fair bit, and I just believe that it's going to keep traveling down. Yeah, I'm going to actually do a session on myself today with the ball on it as well.
All right. So my question for you is, you were at an anxiety level that was, I don't know, 8, 9, 10, something like that, when we started, and
Yes.
you felt it in your body and you emotionally felt it. And then we got that down to a 0, and emotionally and physically. So my question is, it's now been 24 hours. How is your emotional and physical anxiety about it?
It's actually very good. I really haven't even thought about it. I've got very, very anxious when we're doing the session, as you could see, but it's pretty much still 0.
Okay, so this is a good example for the group of what I was talking about, is that it's just this amnesia. And I think the key word that she said there is, oh, I haven't thought about it. And that's it. You just stop thinking about it. It just kind of goes away. So anyway, congratulations. I'm also very happy to hear that your physical is now following it right along, right?
Yes, and as well, last week when we had the session, and I think I worked on rejection and rejection and intruder, that was absolutely amazing. I haven't thought about it since. It's stuck and it made me so much more peaceful. So it's phenomenal.
All right. You're having a banner week. All right.
Yay.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you for coming on and telling people about your after experience from yesterday and last week too.
Yeah, pleasure.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, look here, 5 minutes early. That's a world's record for me. I'm usually late.
Hey, Bill, I want to let everybody know what we were talking about, let them in on the secret. So
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Wendy from yesterday, was it yesterday? I guess it was. She joined a session with us and did Bill coached her online, and she was very, very anxious about blood pressure and a familial history of blood pressure and what might happen in the future. So that's what we're talking about, is Wendy worked on that issue of being worried about that, and also on the blood pressure itself. And you heard the results.
That's great. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, Liz. Thank you all. If there's nothing else, I'm going to look forward to seeing you all hopefully tomorrow.
All right, guys. See you then. Thank you so much for joining. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.